Welcome to the Real Estate Survival Guide, the show that teaches realtors how to create a thriving real estate business.
What is up, guys? John Schuckman here. Welcome to today's episode of the Real Estate Survival Guide podcast. Hope you guys are well and excited to jump into the episode for today. Hope you guys enjoyed the past couple episodes. As you might have seen from the title, I did a best of. Sometimes I'll do that from time to time. Number one, because I have a lot of great episodes that sometimes you haven't heard or haven't heard for a while, so they're good to re-release for one. And just being honest, sometimes I need a little break. So it was nice to take a couple weeks off from producing content, but excited to get back into it here as we kind of get towards, we're already in Q2, which is absolutely insane. So as we kind of get into, mid-April here and then into May, I'm excited to do something. So I'm going to be sharing a few episodes here, starting with today's episode, about how I'm winning in 2025. And it's going to be 4 or 5 episodes just talking about different things I'm doing in my business and different ways to grow in your business that I hope you can relate to. So, and I want to, talk in these episodes about how I'm trying to take care of my physical and mental health better, how I'm winning at relationships, how I'm protecting my yes and, having margins and boundaries this year. And I want to talk as well about consistency. And that's where I think we'll start with it today, because consistency can be a huge piece of your business and lead to success. As I look at my business, all the different things that I do, right? From helping buyers or sellers, and of course, doing really well there, about to be, hopefully an icon agent here. We'll probably close it out mid-May. Hopefully, it might come down to the wire, but we should definitely get it. I've got some things going on, things under contract that will, help that. And they should close out late April, early May. And then I just, have one more deal I'm working on. And so if all those close, I will hit Icon, which I'm pretty excited about. But all this stuff, whether it be thriving as a realtor, becoming an Icon agent, which only the top 1% of our 100,000 agents at EXP do, whether it be the social media coaching, the Wolfpack stuff, the membership, all those things, it's not possible without consistency. And so I want to talk about consistency today, and it is one of the big reasons that I'm winning in 2025, and I want you guys to win as well. So I want to start with a story, and I want to take you back to a story. You guys know I love talking sports and real estate, so excited to do that here. So I noticed something a couple years ago that really, I believe, shows a huge part of consistency. And it was actually watching the Phillies at spring training in 2023 was our first year. We were gone in Florida for a month. We went back in 2024. Whole family stayed there as well, again, for about 4 to 5 weeks each. And in 2025, I got to go and bring my friend Tim. So, it's been a really fun journey, but I still remember my first spring training in 2023, and it'll always stand out. It was our first time there as a family of 4, and we were there for, I think 4.5, 5 weeks, and it was a great trip, right? My dad came down for a little bit, saw some baseball games. My sister came, got a break from her 4 kids and family and stuff, and we had my in-laws come as well, and it was really fun to really enjoy with all of them spring training for the first time. Early in the trip, right before anyone else arrived, I think Valerie and I and the kids were down. We took the kids to Phillies practice, right? And so if you've never been to spring training, right, they'll have practice in the mornings, and then they'll play a game at 1 p.m. And usually we'd go to practice, and then kids would nap on some days, and I'd go to the game, or we went to like 2 or 3 games together. So, but the point of this is I want you to hear this story of consistency. So I remember walking up and talking with my wife, and Val kind of asked me, like, what in the world are they doing, like working on running the bases? Like, why are they working on like kind of hitting first base the right way? Obviously, you know how to run the bases, 90 feet to first, second, third, and home. But this story will always stick out. So we saw Paco Figueroa, and he's the Phillies' first base, outfield, and base running coach. And he's running drills with Kyle Schwarber, Trey Turner, Brandon Marsh, Alec Boehm, like some of the Phillies' top players. And they were practicing rounding first base. So it looked really basic, even weird. And I remember Val asking me, like, well, why are they doing that? Like, why are they, running around first base? And I didn't really have an answer. And then I kind of saw what they were doing that day and over the next few days and weeks. And I learned that even the basics, right? We've talked about that with, Alan Stein and Kobe Bryant. The basics, are what works. And it's how professionals train. They practice the little things again and again because these moments matter. So if you're, a baseball fan, right, Phillies fan, and we won't talk about the playoff story the last 3 years as they kind of regressed each year, but how do you think you get to like the World Series in 2022 or the NLCS in 2023 or playoffs in 24, right? It all starts. It's all that work in February and March in spring training, and then applying that all through April, May, June, July, August, September, during your season, and then even October, and if you go to the World Series in November. It is 8, 9, 10 months of baseball. Well, it's consistency. And you've seen me, and you've heard about me, right? Be consistent on social media. It was about this time last year that my mentor Vincent kind of tore me a new one and said, you're the social media guy. You know so much, and you're not telling people what you know. And so it was a little more aggressive than that, maybe at the time. There might have been a few 4-letter words in there. But really, he gave me a kick in the pants, which honestly I needed, right? Because I wasn't doing it. But what I've learned, right, is that consistency wins. And since that time, consistency wins. As I look at it right now, I can go to my dashboard here even recording this, and I'm at 94,605 views as of the day of recording this in the last 28 days. Well, business comes from that. Agents find me and want to hear about my membership group through that. People want to join EXP and the Wolfpack through that. It is all consistency. Consistency, builds trust and builds awareness, and it's just one of those little things you can do every day. Show up and be there for people, right? In baseball, with Paco Figueroa and the first base, thing and base running, consistency works, and doing the little things every day, showing up, is how you create a pattern of setting you up to win when the moment comes, right? I want to share another story about consistency and a proof that it works for you. A friend from college a few weeks ago, actually, as I'm recording this, I just met with them last Tuesday. So, friend from college, I had not spoken to them since 2014. They recently reached out to list their home. Well, why? They had seen my content for years quietly. There was no likes, no comments, but they were watching, right? As I look at this person's message to me, I'm gonna read it to you guys from my Facebook Messenger. This person, Elizabeth, reached out to me, and I'll kind of show you guys. We even joked about it when we got together in person last week, but May 7th, 2014, so almost 11 years ago, and I asked ChatGPT, guys, and it was 3,999 days when I asked this. So almost 4,000 days ago, right? A day short of 4,000 days ago as I record this. So 10 years, 11 months, and 8 days ago from when I recorded this, right? So here's what happens. They reached out, had not spoken at all since that day, May 7th, 2014. But they reached out, and I'll read it to you. Okay? Again, no contact, almost 11 years. And it said, "Hey, John, long time no talk. My fiance is looking to sell his house in this area. I've never sold a house before, and you were the first person to come to mind. Would you be willing to help us out?" Let's read it again, guys. You were the first person to come to mind. So how was I, when I have not spoken to this person at all in 11 years, how was I the first person to come to mind? Well, guys, it's consistency, right? That's the power of showing up every day, right? You post things, and this is why I love social media. You post, you put it out there. Guess what? When I make a social media post this evening at 7 or 8 o'clock like I did, and then I go to bed, guess what? I might be sleeping and that post is working, right? Consistency works. And so they had not spoken to me in almost 11 years, but I'm getting a listing from that. It actually might be the icon listing. But this is the power of it. Consistency works, right? And so I want you to really have success with this, right? So many people quit way too early. So many people quit way too early, right? But imagine this, right? Here's the funny part, okay? Imagine if I were to quit social media when I started, or imagine even posting every day last year since, early May, so almost a year now. What if I would have been like, no, I'm not going to do it. Nobody contacted me today, right? Well, it's all consistency. Going back to the Phillies thing, imagine, right? Imagine if Kyle Schwarber in March or April said, I ran the bases once the right way. I'm good now, right? You couldn't even imagine. It sounds so silly when I say it to you now, but so many of you, if we're being honest, you're doing it in your business. So I would say if you treat your business like you're only going to do it when it's convenient or fun, you're not going to win. If you treat your business like you're a professional athlete training in sport with discipline, routine, consistency, you will win. So I want to challenge you, right? I want to challenge you. Pick one simple thing, whether it's posting on Facebook, sending a note to a client, making a follow-up call, whatever it is. Pick one thing, and I want you to do it every single day for the next 30 days. Not for the likes, not for the dopamine hit, not for attention, but because those small actions add up. Just like rounding first base does, practicing it in February, March, and into the season, April through September, that payoff might not be till October or November in the playoffs. The results might not show up immediately, but they will show up. So I want you to pick something, shoot me a message. I'd love to hear what it is, and do it every day for the next 30 days. I want you guys to really thrive this year, and this way of showing up and being consistent is one of the things I am committed to doing this year. And as I do that, I'm going to absolutely continue to win in 2025, right? Just having consistency, right? And so I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you can challenge yourself to, do something over the next 30 days. And I'd love to hear what it is. So 30 days, do something consistently. And when you do this, the results, again, they won't show up immediately, but they will show up. So thanks so much for joining me for part one of how I'm winning in 2025. Again, consistency is not glamorous, but it really is and can be the secret sauce that separates the winners from the quitters. Next week, we'll talk about relationships, how building authentic connections with people has led to some of my biggest wins this year and in my career. So I'll share a couple stories that really show how relationships always win. So thanks for listening to this. I hope you can be consistent and show up and do something consistently. And I hope that my journey with it on social media and even the Phillies story encourages you to keep going. So thanks so much for listening. Hope you guys have an awesome week, and we'll talk to you guys on our next episode.
Thanks for listening to the Real Estate Survival Guide. If you enjoyed this episode, we would appreciate it if you'd leave us a review on iTunes. It helps others discover the show. Thank you so much, and we will see you on the next episode.